O.J. Simpson, Glory, Guilt, and the Fall of an American Icon. The rise of the juice before the scandal. Before the sirens, before the glove, there was the juice. Orenthal James Simpson, born July 9, 1947, in San Francisco, California, a boy with rickets in his legs, a stammer in his voice, and little hope of breaking out of the poverty around him. But he did. And oh, how he ran. At Galileo High School, O.J. emerged as a football phenom, agile, strong, unstoppable. But it was at the University of Southern California, under the bright LA sun, that his name became legend. He won the Heisman Trophy in 1968. Not just won, dominated. Rushing for over 1,700 yards, O.J. became a symbol of speed and grace. America didn't just admire him, it loved him. In 1969, he was the #1 overall draft pick for the Buffalo Bills. And though it took a few seasons, the NFL saw what USC already knew. Simpson was electric. In 1973, he rushed for over 2,000 yards in a single season, the first player in history to do so, earning him the league MVP. But O.J. wasn't just a football star. He had a smile made for Hollywood. Commercials, appearances, guest spots. Hertz rental car made him their sprinting spokesman, dashing through airports in a suit, still somehow looking like a gazelle. By the late 70s and early 80s, Simpson was a household name. He starred in movies like The Towering Inferno and the Naked Gun series. He was the American dream, athletic, wealthy, charming. And in 1985, he married Nicole Brown, a beautiful waitress he'd met while still married to his first wife. It looked like the perfect life. But looks can lie. Cracks beneath the surface behind the closed gates of O.J.'s Brentwood mansion. The mask began to slip. Reports of domestic violence surfaced. Friends said Nicole lived in fear. The police were called multiple times to the Simpson residence. But O.J. was a celebrity, and in the City of Angels, fame can be a shield. In 1992, Nicole filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Still, the two maintained a complicated on-again, off-again relationship. Then came June 12, 1994, a quiet Sunday night, the crime that changed everything. Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman were found brutally murdered outside Nicole's condo in Brentwood, nearly decapitated, blood everywhere. A pair of gloves, a trail of footprints, and a white Ford Bronco parked at O.J.'s estate. The police went looking for a suspect and found a nightmare. The Chase That Stopped America, June 17, 1994. O.J. was scheduled to surrender. Instead, he vanished. What followed became one of the most surreal moments in modern history, the white Bronco chase. Driven by his friend Al Cowlings, with O.J. in the backseat holding a gun to his own head, the Bronco led police on a low-speed pursuit through Los Angeles, broadcast live to 95 million people. Freeways shut down. People stood on overpasses cheering or crying. Even the NBA Finals, the Rockets versus the Knicks, were interrupted to show the chase. It was more than a manhunt. It was theater. It was tragedy. And it was only the beginning. O.J. eventually surrendered in his driveway, holding a framed photo of his family. In his possession, a fake beard, a passport, and nearly $9,000 in cash. He was charged with 2 counts of murder. The trial of the century. By the fall of 1994, the country wasn't watching a trial, it was watching a spectacle. O.J. Simpson, American hero, stood accused of double murder. But this wasn't just a legal battle, it was a war of perception. The stage was set in Los Angeles County Superior Court. Cameras rolled. Every day, every moment was broadcast into homes across America. Ratings soared, and the players in this real-life drama became household names. The Dream Team versus the State OJ didn't just hire a lawyer, he built a fortress of them. Enter the Dream Team. Johnny Cochran, the charismatic civil rights advocate. Robert Shapiro, the seasoned negotiator. F. Lee Bailey, the courtroom brawler. Alan Dershowitz, the constitutional expert. And Robert Kardashian, OJ's longtime friend and moral compass. His reappearance from retirement became the seed of what would later blossom into the Kardashian media empire. On the other side, the prosecution. Marcia Clark, tough, relentless, and under media scrutiny for everything from her hair to her tone. Christopher Darden, brought in partly to counter racial dynamics, carried a heavy burden of representation. Their goal, to prove that O.J. Simpson brutally murdered Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman in cold blood. Blood, DNA, and the glove. The evidence, at first glance, was overwhelming. A trail of blood from the crime scene to O.J.'s estate. DNA linking him to the victims. A pair of size 12 Bruno Magli shoes, rare, expensive, and matching footprints found in blood. And, of course, the now infamous glove one found at the murder scene, the other behind O.J.'s guest house. America had watched a man rise, fall, and be publicly tried twice, once in a criminal court, once in the court of public opinion. But the story of O.J. Simpson wasn't done. There was one more chapter left, and it would finally land him behind bars. Robbery, retribution, and the final fall. By the early 2000s, O.J. Simpson was a pariah. He had been acquitted of murder in criminal court. He had been found liable for wrongful death in civil court. He was broke, angry, and clinging to his former glory. America had moved on. O.J. hadn't. Life after the trial. After the 1995 acquittal, Simpson tried to return to life as he knew it. But Hollywood no longer opened its doors. Television appearances vanished. Sponsors fled. He owed millions to the Goldman and Brown families' judgments he could not pay. His Heisman Trophy, signed jerseys, personal mementos, all were auctioned off. Some of it ended up in sports memorabilia collections, some on black markets, and some O.J. wanted back. He lived mostly in Florida, playing golf, doing small-time appearances, and signing memorabilia under the radar. But he couldn't stay away from the spotlight for long. In 2006, he sold a book deal that shocked the world. Its title? If I Did It. It was a hypothetical confession, a grotesque exercise in what if. Even for O.J., it crossed a line. The book was pulled after massive backlash, but the Goldman family later obtained the rights and released it with the word "if" barely visible on the cover. To many, this was O.J. laughing at the dead. But karma, some said, wasn't finished with him yet. The Las Vegas sting. I just wanted my stuff back. September 13, 2007. Las Vegas, Nevada. O.J. Simpson, now 60 years old, entered a room at the Palace Station Hotel with 5 other men. They were there to confront 2 memorabilia dealers allegedly in possession of O.J.'s personal sports items, jerseys, awards, family photos. But the confrontation turned into a heist. Guns were drawn, voices raised. The entire incident was recorded. O.J. claimed he wasn't stealing, he was reclaiming what was rightfully his. But the law didn't care. He was arrested and charged with 12 felonies, including armed robbery, assault, and kidnapping. This wasn't a media circus, it was a reckoning. In 2008, O.J. Simpson was found guilty on the 13th anniversary of his acquittal in the murder trial. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The sentence? 33 years in prison with parole eligibility after 9. Many called it payback. Others called it justice delayed. Life behind bars, Simpson was sent to Lovelock Correctional Center in Nevada, inmate number 1027820. There, he kept a low profile. He coached softball, mopped floors, stayed out of trouble. He even gave occasional interviews, still insisting he'd been wronged, still denying the 1994 murders. To his few remaining supporters, he was a man railroaded by a justice system that failed him twice. To everyone else, he was right where he belonged. Parole and the final act, October 1st, 2017. After serving 9 years, O.J. Simpson was granted parole. He was 70, slower, still recognizable, but no longer a celebrity, just a ghost of one. He moved to Las Vegas, where he lived quietly, played golf, made videos, popped up on Twitter with bizarre commentary about sports and the real story. Despite parole conditions, he tried to stay in the public eye cautiously this time, but the media didn't bite like they once had. The world had changed. He never publicly admitted to the murders, never paid the millions owed to the Goldman family. He was a free man, and a haunted one. The death of a legend. In early 2024, news quietly broke that O.J. Simpson had been diagnosed with prostate cancer. He denied it, then went silent. April 10th, 2024. Simpson died in Las Vegas, aged 76. The announcement came from his family. There was no dramatic statement, no funeral spectacle, just an ending. Reflections on a fallen icon. O.J. Simpson's story is not just about football or fame. It's about America, about race, justice, celebrity, and the media's insatiable hunger. It's about how a hero can fall and how a nation watches stunned, divided, and transfixed. He was a record breaker, a murderer, a prisoner, a punchline. For some, O.J. was a tragedy. For others, a monster who got away. But no one could ever look away. Legacy, impact, and what O.J. left behind. Cultural impact of the trial, true crime genre explosion, rise of reality TV via the Kardashians, lessons learned or not. O.J. Smith, media and memory legacy, impact, and the myth of O.J. Simpson. There are stories that fade, and then there are legendary stories that become myth twisted by time, dissected by culture, reimagined by generations who weren't even there. The story of O.J. Simpson is one of those myths, because his life wasn't just a biography. It was a lens through which America saw its own reflection, and the image wasn't pretty. The trial that changed everything. The O.J. Simpson murder trial was the first true reality drama on American television. It predicted our obsession with crime, celebrity, and courtroom drama. It wasn't just watched, it was consumed, like a serialized tragedy. Talk shows broke it down like a soap opera. Comedians mimicked Johnny Cochran's lines. Late-night hosts turned jurors and lawyers into punchlines. But beneath the spectacle were deep national wounds. Race and policing, fame and accountability, media ethics, and a legal system many believed could be manipulated or bought. The country didn't agree on what O.J. did, but it agreed on this: the game had changed. The rise of true crime and trial TV. The Simpson trial launched careers and rewrote television. Court TV became a staple. News networks covered trials wall to wall. crime reporting became a billion-dollar business. Years later, shows like The People vs. O.J. Simpson, American Crime Story, reignited interest in the case. Actors portrayed the real figures, from Cuba Gooding Jr. as O.J. to Sarah Paulson as Marcia Clark, peeling back layers of psychology, bias, and power. People who hadn't been born in 1995 were now watching, gasping, Googling, still asking the question, did he do it? The Kardashian Effect. In 1995, Robert Kardashian stood beside O.J., reading his friend's suicide note to the media. At the time, few knew his name, but that last name Kardashian would soon define a new kind of fame. Robert's ex-wife, Kris Jenner, was Nicole Brown's close friend. Her daughters Kourtney, Kim, and Khloe watched the trial unfold with the rest of America. A decade later, Kim Kardashian would emerge as a reality TV icon. By 2020, she was one of the most recognizable women in the world, in no small part because of the spotlight that first touched her family during the O.J. trial. It's a strange butterfly effect, a murder trial media frenzy, family fame, global celebrity empire. In a twisted way, O.J.'s shadow helped shape reality television itself. Did justice win? O.J. was acquitted in the criminal court, convicted in the civil court, imprisoned years later for a robbery. But no outcome satisfied everyone, because the case wasn't just about O.J., it was about what people believed justice should look like. For some, his acquittal proved that a black man could finally beat the system. For others, it was proof that money and fame could buy freedom. The truth? Maybe both are true, maybe neither. But what's clear is that justice, or the illusion of it, has never been the same. Cultural memory, from tragedy to meme. As the years passed, O.J.'s name became a joke to some, a warning to others. The glove doesn't fit. "I'm not black, I'm O.J.," quoted famously by Jay-Z. Even his social media presence, late in life, became surreal, posting cheerful videos like a retiree, casually talking golf while ignoring the ghosts behind him. In the end, O.J. became a meme, wrapped in a mystery. Not quite villain, not quite victim, just a man trapped in a story bigger than himself. Final years and death. O.J. Simpson died April 10, 2024, in Las Vegas, following a battle with cancer. There was no televised funeral, no public parade of tributes, no Hall of Fame ceremony, no flags lowered. He died with many still calling him a murderer, others a fallen hero, and some unsure what to believe. In the end, his legacy is exactly what his life was: contradictory, complicated, unforgettable. This was the juice, a man who could outrun everyone except the truth, and this was Lawless Legends. Thank you for watching. If this story fascinated you, subscribe for more true crime legends, where the line between myth and reality blurs.